Alright guys, welcome to another video on grad school. I did promise you that we'll be doing more of personal experiences in grad school here in the United States. So today I have here with me David to talk about internships here in the US. As you know, you're coming into grad school and you're already in grad school, how to go about it and all of that. So thank you very much. David, for coming here. I'll let you introduce yourself and a little bit about yourself, and then you add fun facts so that all of us can know.
Interesting. All right. So like you already mentioned, my name is David. And first of all, I just want to say thank you for having me on your channel. I know it's such a pleasure and honor to be featured on this YouTube channel. And hello to all you viewers out there. So I'm a fourth year PhD student in statistics at the Montana State University. Originally from Ghana as well. Coming from my University of Science and Technology, the best of us. And fun fact about me, I love the NBA so much. So anytime you don't see me out there doing anything, know that I'm watching basketball. If there's no game going on, then I'm watching highlights. Yeah, so that's what I'll say.
Awesome. Thank you very much, David, for the brief introduction. So you just get right into today's video.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So the first thing that I'll ask you is, why is there a need for internship at all?
All right. So for any young student out there who's looking to go into industry, one of the things that we always hear about is experience, and every employer is looking for someone who's got some experience. And one way students in general can get that experience without having to stop school is using your summer vacations to get an internship. And one, that is a way companies get to interview you over a longer period of time rather than having like a 1 hour, 2 hour interview with you. So most companies I know like having interns over because they get to actually see whether the student is a good fit for their company and their culture and all of that. And it's definitely good for you yourself as a student, so you also get the opportunity to make decisions on whether this particular company you're interning with, or whether whatever thing that you think you enjoy doing is actually something you want to be doing after school. So like when I was coming into grad school, one of my intentions was to definitely teach. I love teaching coming from Ghana, and so I thought I was going to enjoy academia. But then in my second year, my supervisor advised me to just go out there and then get an internship, just so that I can have a feel of both worlds, and then I can make a decision. And that was one of the best decisions I made. Going out there, I realized I actually enjoyed working more in a professional setting, collaborating with folks and stuff like that, and that helped me make a decision as to what my career goals were going to be right after that. So that's what I'd say.
Wow, very, very, very insightful. The second question is, how do we go about it? So I know that most of us, like you just heard, it's important for you to intern. The next question is, how do I go about it? Where do I look? Where do I start from? What do I need?
Wow, that's a very, very broad question. Where do you start from? I would say your connections. So once you identify that you want to go for an internship, take advantage of everything that you have around you. That's what I'd say. So your professors usually get emails from past students that they are looking for interns. So definitely making your professors aware of the fact that you are interested in internships is one good thing. So when they get those offers, they can definitely bring them your way as well. Another thing I would say is make good use of social media. I know like social media is a big thing now, and there are pros and cons to it, and they can be distractions, but they can be very, very useful as well. So make good use of your social media connections as well. LinkedIn is one that I would recommend. I've met so many amazing people that have connected me to My sorry for that a little distraction. Yeah, but yeah, there are so many people amazing people I've met professionally on LinkedIn, and they have been able to connect me to several different people sometimes, and they've gotten me to internships. So make sure you use those platforms, and then the last one is definitely go online and then search. So go online. If you're interested in, for example, for myself, if you're interested in data science job, just Google data science internships near me, or data science internships in the US, and there are so many options that would pop up, and then go through them, apply. Some of the, yeah, I think we'll get to that later, but yeah, that's where you want to start from. So making sure that people are aware. So if you set up your LinkedIn profile, there are options for you to indicate that you are searching for internship. So you want to turn that notification on so that LinkedIn would notify you when internships within your field are available. And yeah, and then just go on Google and then search for internships available, and then there are so many of them that will come up. So I think that's where you should start from.
Awesome, guys. This is also another video that you can watch, just as we are doing right now, to also learn, some of the information that David is sharing with us. So now let's get into the third question. What are some of the benefits that you have had before we get into your personal experience with internships so far here in the US? What are some of the key benefits that, aside what we said early on about coming to grad school and then putting yourself out there for jobs and being in a corporate world, what are some of the other benefits that you would say that internships bring to people?
Oh, there's a lot. One, you get to learn a lot about yourself. That's one thing. That's one of the benefits I liked about the internships I've done in the past. I got to learn a lot about myself, things that I thought I knew but I didn't know, and then things that I knew but I didn't know I knew. Yeah, so it's a really good way for you to learn about, not just in terms of academic skills, but just generally how you might relate to people in the work field and the type of culture that you want to work in. Whether you want to work in a really large company or you prefer working in a small company, you never know unless you are placed in that setting. So that's one of the benefits. Another benefit is that it puts you out there. For example, especially for us as international students, it's really hard for us to get that first opportunity, right? So you don't want to have like all the experience that you have is just coming from your undergraduate studies in Ghana, or from companies that you work with in Ghana, just because it's difficult for the companies here to sort of like know how credible that work experience was. I mean, it's good, but then sometimes it's hard for companies to just hire you if you do not have any experience here in the US. So doing those internships definitely puts you out there, and companies then maybe you get one opportunity with one company or the other, and then once you have that that on your CV, it puts you out there, and then companies can start reaching out to you, or recruiters can start reaching out to you. Another benefits for internships is definitely the connections. Obviously, they are very important. You get to meet so many people, other interns coming from different backgrounds. You get to know what is required for you to get to that next level. So then if you are doing an internship, you get to communicate and ask, okay, so what if I want to come work for you? What do I need to do? And what are other opportunities available for me as a student? What can I do after my internship or after I graduate? So then it helps you plan for the future. So yeah, that's it. That's another. Awesome. It helps you plan for what you want to do next. So that if you do not enjoy the experience, then you know, oh, okay, maybe I do not enjoy being in let's say in the banking space or in the tech space. So then maybe I should find something else, and I prefer research or I prefer something else. So these are some of the things I think are beneficial to you as a student. Getting the opportunity to internships. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very much for all the benefits. So now let's get into your personal experience. Maybe you want to pick one internship that you've done in the past and tell us a little about it.
All right. So maybe if I should pick one, I think the best one, the one I want to pick is my internship with JP Chase down in Columbus, Ohio. Just because of how it happened and my experience with them and all of that, I think it's something that really changed my life and perspective on so many things. So first of all, with the application process, honestly, so that summer, I think that was in the summer of 2019, yeah, and I had been applying since the fall of 2018. I knew I wanted to do an internship, so I had been applying. Oh my god, it was so hard. If I open my LinkedIn profile, you would see the number of times I'd applied to different positions. If I'm not exaggerating, over 200 applications. I would dedicate time over the weekends or times after school, just come home an hour to just go online and then just keep applying for all these internships around. And majority of them, I had no feedback. I don't know whether they even looked at my application or it wasn't looked at. And then the ones that I got feedback from, most of them were just straight out rejections. So then I had gotten used. Initially, it was heartbreaking, but then after a while, you just get used to it. And at some point, you're like, oh, okay, I'm just applying because I just want to feel good about the fact that I'm doing this application, but then I know it's not going to end up anywhere. So that was what was happening. So I just gotten used to it. Yeah, and I used to look out for the easily apply, or the ones that you just, once you set up your LinkedIn profile, you can just click on it and it will just submit your CV and everything for you. And so then I did that so many times. I wasn't getting any positive feedback, and I kept on applying. And then the next thing I did, I realized, okay, we had entered the spring semester and I had still not gotten any good feedback. So I was almost giving up. And so I spoke to my professor and told him I tried applying, I hadn't heard anything back, and I knew most internships were going to start ending. Applications were going to start closing somewhere February, March. So then I had to start finding an alternative. And so down in the math department, there's an opportunity for you to teach. And so I started talking to my professor that I wanted to teach in the summer as well, so I could make some money. Yeah, and I spoke to him about the internship, and then he mentioned there was an opportunity to work with a researcher in a different department that was available. So I was like, okay, yeah, then I'm interested. Let me just try that if the internship was not going to work out. So I applied for that. That was an easy application. I went to interview for the position. I got in. It was a good relationship. I think I was going to enjoy the project that we're going to work on and things like that. So I was excited for that. And so that was my plan, to go out there and then or to work with this researcher. And so I think, the semester ends in May. So March, I was done. So they just had to complete paperwork and then submit that I had been hired to work with this researcher. And so as we were just completing the paperwork, my professor got or my advisor, he got an email from one of his past students saying that JP Morgan was looking for interns, and it was really, really late. Yeah, so I think it was in March. And usually that's when applications are actually closing. But now this is when an application was open. So I was like, wow, that was interesting. So he sent him my way. I was like, oh, okay, let me just do this again without having any, because it was almost the end of the semester. There's no way that there would be. I felt it was one of those where they already had someone in mind for the position, but because they needed to put out the application, so they were just putting it out there, and then they would just close it after a week or two, and then they would hire whoever they had chosen. So I was like, okay, let me just put in my application. And then I forgot about it. And then I think late March, just within March, or just in April, then they reached back out and said they wanted me to come for the interview. I was like, wow, that's interesting. So then I prepared a plan. In fact, let me not lie. I didn't prepare a plan because I had done so many interviews in the past and it didn't go anymore. So I was like, anyways, it's going to be one of those interviews again. So I was just going to sit there, whatever questions they had for me, I was just going to answer and then go on with it. So we had the first interview, it was a phone interview, it was great. And then they got back and were like, okay, I'm going on to the next step of the interview. I was like, oh, that's cool. Went on to the next. This was like more face-to-face, but I was on a Zoom call. So I went to the library, set up a Zoom meeting. We had really interesting comments. That was like one of the most relaxing interviews I'd ever been in. The interview was really, really nice. Asked some technical questions and stuff like that. And then I went through that as well. And then before I knew it, in April, they came back and said I'd gotten the position. I was like, wow, that was surprising. And so then I was stuck between disappointing this researcher who was so happy I was going to work with, and then going out there and then having my first industry experience. So I spoke to my advisor about it and what he thought, and then good for me, he was on my side. He wanted me to go out and then get that industry experience because he felt I was always going to have the opportunity to research. So he found a way of communicating to them that I could no longer work with them on campus, and then I had to go out there. So that was interesting, and then I had to figure out accommodation in Columbus. That was the first time I was going to Ohio. That was also another lovely experience. And then I got there, and oh my god, it's a campus. Yeah, that was the first time I went to like a workplace that was it's not just like an office building. This is a campus, like really huge, with over, if I'm not exaggerating, over 1,000 workers. So, and then I was lost. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to figure this out, or I didn't feel like I belonged. But it was an amazing experience. I got to meet so many amazing people. Fellow interns were great, and I enjoyed it. I got to do like this is the first time I was on a project that was like a really big project where like if you messed up it was going to affect like the company. And if you know anything about JP Morgan, you know it's one of the largest banks here in America. And so yeah, I really enjoyed my time at JP Morgan, and we did a lot of modeling, and I got to see how most of the things that we learned in class were applicable like in industry, and how like thinking about problems and your thought process when solving a problem for like a company was like. And so yeah, that was my
very awesome. I'm happy to hear all that.
Yeah.
So the last thing, I think you did mention interview.
Yeah.
It's something that frightens everybody when like you hear of internship applied, then you're being called for an interview. Give us something, maybe a trick to this whole interview thing. And maybe you can advise us, we are coming concerning the interviews, how we should approach it and not really be scared. Like, what would you say?
I think first of all, it's okay if you are maybe like tensed or a little anxious, especially if it's like your first interview, because you don't know what to expect. But I think one of the advantages that I always tell people is you can get from being rejected is the fact that you got the opportunity to practice what it's like being in an interview. And I think that's what helped me. So like when I was getting all those rejections, even the few ones that I got to interview for, even though I got rejected, I had the opportunity to learn like something I did right or something I did wrong in that interview. So the best, you just need to practice a lot. Prepare, make sure you're well prepared, and know that in that interview, you know more about yourself than they know about you. So it's about you sharing what you know about yourself, or sharing yourself with the interviewer, and just being relaxed. It's a conversation. Sometimes I've interviewed with some places, and sometimes the interviewers make it very uncomfortable. But just be calm. You know what you know. If it's a question that you know the answer to, be bold enough to communicate the answer and be confident in yourself. If you do not know the answer, you can't know everything. And sometimes one of the things I realize is interviewers are not always looking for the right answer. It's how you communicate what you have or what you know to them. And so even if you do not know, there are ways you can talk about it without sounding dumb. Like, they don't expect you to know everything. I've been in interviews where like the interviewer doesn't even know the answer to the question that he's asking me. And so when I threw the question back, he's like, oh, he was just giving the question to ask. And so he doesn't know the answer. And so, yeah. So just calm down, be confident in yourself, and prepare. Just prepare. Like, if you are going for interviews with all these big tech companies, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, yeah, those interviews are tough, but then they are doable. So go online, look at interview questions, look at how to respond to them. And there are so many resources available out there for free that can help you prepare for an interview. And I think that's what I'll say. And then just practice a lot.
Practice a lot. Thank you very much, David,
You're
for
welcome.
coming on this channel. I really appreciate what you shared. I have learned a whole lot, and I hope you watching, you have learned so much to help you navigate your way through grad school, and also, you know, securing some professional and corporate field work here in the United States. So if you like this video, please give this video a thumbs up. Comment below if you want, comment below whatever question that you have, and I'll be sure to reply. So if you're not subscribed to, please click the subscribe button and then hit the post notification bell so you'll be notified anytime that I post a new video. Thank you for watching till now, and I'll see you in another video. Bye.